Hi, this is Steve Cazella with the partners here at Tower Genius, and I want to do a quick video about one of the top, let's call it the top 7 deadly sins of cell tower lease negotiation. These are common errors that property owners and building owners make when they're negotiating a cell tower lease or cell site lease agreement. So probably the top one is, when someone blinks first. And they counter the offer that the real estate site acquisition representative makes with a dollar price in their initial conversation. These guys are going to try to hold you to a number, and if you blurt out a number as an ending negotiation, you're in a weaker position. So blinking first, that's number one. Number two, signing an offer letter or a deal memorandum or a letter agreement or a term sheet. And this is used by the wireless industry to basically put you in a corner, and they'll say, hey, don't worry about it, this is non-binding. Yeah, baloney. So in some states it actually is binding. Again, I'm not an attorney, but look into your state to see if a term sheet is legally binding. It's never a good idea to sign a term sheet, period, end of story. Shake their hand, say, look, my word is enough. Everything's negotiable in these deals until you sign on the dotted line. Don't get locked into a term sheet. Number three of the top deadliest mistakes property owners make when negotiating a cell tower lease agreement. When you tell the cell tower site act rep from the onset that you want to have revenue share, you want to have co-location, that's automatically a red flag for a lot of them. They'll walk. So of course you want revenue share, of course you want co-location, just don't talk about it. Keep it zipped, all right? Don't say that word. Don't say co-location or subleasing. The trick here is to get these people to spend money on your project. It's like bass fishing. You're throwing out a lure, and the bass hits it, and you want that fish to swallow that hook and run with it before you set the hook. So the same way, you want to have the carriers or the developers spend some money before you throw out words like subleasing or co-location. So that's a big one. Obviously, I wouldn't encumber a property unless there was no other choice. With just a single tenant and not having possibility for future co-location. But hey, that's just me. All right, what's the next deadly mistake that people make when negotiating a cell tower lease agreement? A lot of times people try to negotiate a cell tower lease rate based on a price per square foot or by the number of antennas on the rooftop or a lease range in a certain area. And the carrier will try to, or the leasing rep will try to pigeonhole you, with square footage price or something like that. Don't fall for that. Every site is the value is determined on a site-by-site basis, and we have tons of content about that. If you need the secret sauce, give us a call at Tower Genius, 888-313-9750. We can help you figure out what your site is worth specifically. It's way too detailed to get into here in this short video. All right, the next deadly mistake that property owners make when negotiating a cell tower lease agreement, they go into a negotiation blindly. And while they don't understand the difference between a cell tower lease that's directly with a wireless carrier, or if it's a cell tower lease where the cell tower developer is the tenant or the lessee. So it's not an apples to apples comparison, but still people, even seasoned real estate professionals, start negotiating. I know Joe or Bob or someone that's got a cell tower somewhere, and they're getting $6,000 a month. So they just go into this negotiation blindly. And a lot of times it's crash and burn because you need to know what you're up against and what you're negotiating. And I would say finally the other big mistake, the final most common error made by property owners when negotiating a cell tower lease agreement is signing an option agreement or a lease agreement in excess of 30 years in length. There's no reason to do a 30-year rooftop lease, for example. Carriers love to have 25 years. That's been the standard in the industry probably for the last 20 some odd years. But don't accept a 90-year deal. Certain company out of New York City is doing that 90-year, 80-year, 70-year leases, even 50-year leases. That's way too long. That's crazy. The industry is 30 some odd years long. Don't agree to a 50-year lease agreement. If they want a 40-year lease agreement, then make it worth your while. The standard is 25 years. Developers might need 30, but I really don't feel comfortable recommending anybody do a deal beyond 30 years on a ground lease, on a cell tower lease where the tower is being installed on the dirt there. Rooftops is a totally different ball game. Again, if you have questions, visit us at towergenius.com. You can book a strategy call with Kevin Donahue or with me, Steve Kinsella, and or you can give us a call at 888-313-9750. We'd be glad to talk to you.